Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for yet another WeConnect session. Today we have a very important guest. He does not need any introduction, but still I'm going to give you guys one. He is the chairman of the Kanoo Group, one of the largest independent and longest running family-owned businesses in the Gulf region, Mr. Mishal Kanoo. Thank you for giving us your time today. He's one of the iconic business figures in the Middle East and has featured on various magazines, including the top 100 powerful Arabs in 2013 and the 15th wealthiest Arab businessman in the world in 2012.
Mr. Kanoo is also a frequent speaker at the conferences, and he's done conferences worldwide including Forbes Middle East Forum at Qatar, the World Summit of Innovation and Entrepreneurship in Dubai, the International Herald Tribune CEO Roundtable Conference in Malaysia, and many more other related business and social affairs in Europe, US, and so on. He's a futurist, strategic, with a strong track record of forecasting economic developments in the Middle East. With that being said, sir, we would dive more and have few insights from you. Here are a few of your questions.
How do you adapt to this ever-changing nature of the business landscape? Like we know that business, nothing is stagnant. Suddenly there's a pandemic, suddenly COVID, the entire economy is just stuck at home, nobody's moving. So how do you adapt and navigate through this change?
If you start from the position that you know everything, you've already failed. If you start from the position that you're constantly getting information and constantly getting internal information, meaning you read yourself, you do your own research, external information, and you're getting news, and you're seeing how things are perpetuating, you can then adapt because it's easier for you. You're not stuck in a rigorous structure. The hard thing is when you think of yourself as an expert, or you think of yourself as, oh, who is going to teach me more? That's the problem. Yeah, and there's this constant thought process in my head that I constantly want to know more. And as long as I get more information, now sometimes you get overwhelmed with information, but at least I'd rather be in the position where I'm being overwhelmed with information than getting no information. Because when I get information, at least I can filter some of it. I might not get everything right, but at least I have a better understanding in terms of what things are happening and how to react towards them. Will a person who has all information succeed every time? No. But failure is also giving you feedback and information. How can you utilize this information for the next time? So, for example, in this case, the issue of COVID, when it happened, absolutely nobody expected this, one. And two, nobody thought this is the way governments are going to react and the world's going to react and everything's going to shut down. What do? Now you have one of two choices. Choice number one is you go into panic mode, which sadly a lot of people did, where they started to panic. Oh my God, the world's going to exactly, the world's ending. There's this Chicken Little, what you call, mentality happened.
Yeah.
The other part is thinking, okay, this is another situation. We've experienced different situations, not at this scale, but we've experienced different situations. How do we best adjust to this? And when you do that, you then take a step back, you start to breathe easier, and you can say, okay, maybe I can't do this anymore, I will do that. Well, I can't do that anymore, I'll do this. Maybe I can add a lot more of those, and you're assessing and trying to find ways to adjust to a situation. Because at the end of the day, whatever that situation is, as dire as it is just a situation in time.
Hi, thank you so much. I think what you said applies not just in the business sphere, in everything in life. If you're quick, you're adaptive, you think what could happen in the future, and you're okay to change, I think that's the perfect step, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Kanoo, as the fourth generation to run the Kanoo family business, what are some of the key values and principles that have contributed to its long-standing success?
You know, one of the things I've noticed in lots of people, and when they try to create a business, and they focus on a lot of things. They focus on the bottom line, they focus on the top line, they focus on how to create, chase after new ideas. And I think the one thing that people forget, which is extremely important, well, actually it's two things, but one stems from the other. The first thing, it's a very simple concept, it's respect. The second thing is care. I don't necessarily have to want to beat you to win. There are people who have this mentality of zero-sum game. I win, you lose. No. I need to win, because that's what I'm in a business for. But I need you to win too. Even if you are my adversary, Even if you're my competition, I need you to win. Not to the same degree I want to win, otherwise, why am I in there? But I need to win, and I need you to win too. And I need you to win when we negotiate. And there are a lot of people, when they go negotiate, they don't understand how this is a negotiation thing. But even when you negotiate with someone, if I don't respect you, he or she is too young. So, he or she is of that nationality. So, he or she is, and you can go on, right? You can find all the negative adjectives that will fit that person. But you know what? I don't need to, even if he or she is a janitor, I'm not respecting the janitor as a janitor. I'm respecting the janitor as a person, as a human. This person is working damn hard for his or her family to put a roof over their head, clothes on their back, and food on the table. You cannot but respect that person. If you don't, then there's a problem with you. Or me. If I don't respect that person, there's a problem with me. No, that person is doing what he or she is doing for their good. There are people who do not deserve respect. Put them aside. They will they will show you that they don't deserve it. Arrogant people don't deserve respect. I'm sorry. When a person thinks the world revolves around him or her and doesn't have a venue to allow others to also win as well, I don't respect them. But you can be the biggest, brightest. If you have an arrogant attitude, I'm sorry, I don't respect you. A janitor who works, cleaning the street, I have more respect for that person than you. Because you don't care. You think the world revolves around you. And the world, guess what? The world does not revolve around you or me. The world revolves around all of us. And every one of us plays a role. And if I don't respect that aspect, and I don't feel for empathy towards my fellow human, this is important. Irrespective, I cannot control where I was born. I cannot control the color of my skin. I cannot control my height. I cannot control I can't control my weight because I can. I can't control how big my hands are going. I can't control certain aspects. And so to be judged on those things is, for me, an act of stupidity. If I see a person in need, my natural instinct should be, what can I do for that person? It shouldn't be, how can I step on that person to utilize his or her pain for my success? Should never be. But yet, sadly, you have a lot of people running towards that.
So what I've understood is, to keep it simple, baseline, have respect, have care for everyone, and you shall have the successes that you deserve.
God willing.
God willing. Thank you.
There's a lot of students actually who are tuning in and want to hear your stories. So what advice would you give them on looking at the key trends and developments when they enter into the business world? They're new, just starting off, they are discovering themselves.
I'm afraid to answer that question because it will sound very negative. But I think it's only fair for the students to hear these things, not necessarily because I want to crush their spirit. But when you know what to expect, you can adjust to it. When you don't know what to expect, then you drive into the wall.
Okay.
Expect a lot of people to smile in your face and stab you in the back. Expect a lot of people to give you a lot of support as long as you're winning. Expect a lot of people to be generous if they think they can benefit from something you do, a connection, money, something. They will be very generous with it. Expect very few people to be your true friend. And your true friend, by the way, in business, in life, in business, is a person who talks behind your back in support of you, is the one who is making sure everybody understands behind you without you knowing how wonderful he or she thinks about you. Expect a lot of people to try to step on you and use you as a scapegoat if they think it benefits them. But sadly, it does exist. And the one that supports and protects you, you might not know him or her, and you might think he or she is your enemy or your competitor, example. But that person respects what you do or who you are because of how you carry yourself, that they're the ones who are going to fight on your behalf. Your friends are not the ones who smile in your face. No, no, no. Your friends are the ones who support you when you don't know. That is hard to come across, and you will not know it. And they will not be the ones who come and say, look, if someone comes and says, look, I defended you. But, no, you know that? Here's the door, find your way out. Okay? It's a waste of time. It's the person who you see is happy when you succeed. You will see them, you will feel them, that they want you to succeed because they see something in you. They're happy for you. And if you can get those people in your life, and specifically in your work life, you will hopefully be able to succeed in where you're trying to get to. The worst thing, people, there's a mistake a lot of people do in that they try to be part and parcel of someone who is larger than life. I know, if I stick to that person, eventually I'll get
that.
No. What you need to find is a person who has the same values, same understanding, same ideas that you have. Again, it doesn't really matter how rich or poor or significant or insignificant a person. It doesn't matter. But they have the same values, the same understanding, same mentality. I don't want group thought here either. No, they're open to a bit of criticism. They're open to listen to that there's issues here. Somebody who is not willing to listen to criticism, please avoid them like the plague. They're going to be a pain for you in the future. But you want to have people who understand what you're talking about and have the same moral values. That for them, cheating is cheating. For them, lie is lie. There's no shades of lie. Now, in some situations, you need to do certain things. Even if they're forced to do something, can you see them in pain doing something that they find morally reprehensible? So even though they might be having to do something that they find morally reprehensible, but you see that it's not something that they're okay with it. No. They really hate the idea. And they're struggling because it hurts them. If you see people like them, and this is your mindset and the way you think about something, stick with them. Because you're going to go on the same train of success together. You're never going to build any organization. You're never going to build any success without people backing you. It doesn't happen. No one person, I don't care, even if he or she is the front face of a company. Behind that front face of the company are thousands backing him or her. If they're not there, he's not reaching it. Or she's not reaching it.
I think that's such a valuable lesson for life and business as well. Is because when we are growing, we always assume that everyone around us is always happy for us and it is in support of us up until we get stabbed in the back and then we learn our lesson. So it's always find the gem of people and keep them close.
May I suggest to your listeners and viewers, students, if you have a time, I'm going to say, read this book. Don't read it superficially. Read it and understand. This is one of the best books I've come across. It's Shakespeare's play Othello. If you want to understand human nature, and you understand how people interact with you, Othello gives you a very small concept of what happens in real life. That person who smiles is going out of his way to harm you. The person who you support, you get angry because you feel that they've insulted your personality. Something along those lines. You will see that there are many aspects that you will encounter, and it's in that book. So it's a wonderful, wonderful book that talks about human psychology. Oh, by the way, that's something I don't want to discount. Psychology. Everything we do, everything we say, every interaction we have, it's an effect because we're talking to a human being. Yes. You know, what you might not understand. Again, if I understand each person. So some people are much more flexible and other people are much more rigid, right? And some people explode over something small and some people take a while to build up. And you have cultures that will represent that. So, for example, and then again, I'm not saying this against anyone, it's just observation. If you interact with Pathans, loyal to a fault, very protective. Make one mistake, and you have an enemy for life. Right? It's a mentality that they have. Again, this is a collective. It's a stereotyping. I know that, but it's a mentality. If you have that, and you're interacting with somebody who happens to be of that culture, you need to be careful in terms of how you say this or that. But you know that if you're falling, if something's happening, he or she's got your back. Right? So if you understand that, you have a better chance of succeeding. If you come across North European, Dutch, British, etc., they're much more. I don't want to say the negative way, but you'll find them, a lot of them are very cold and calculating. Not necessarily that they're bad, it's just that they're cold and calculating in terms of this certain things. So don't expect them to be your best friends, although when you break a certain ice with them, they become. But to get to that point, it's a very, what you call it, there's a lot of blocks that come in between. But you can rely on this person to give you the most accurate data because that's exactly what he or she lives by. So it's not necessarily a negative thing, it's not necessarily a positive. But if I understand cultures, this culture, that culture, you have a better understanding in terms of how to succeed with them. That's important. India?
Yeah.
Where do I begin with India? North, south, east, west, you're talking countries, not a country. You have countries within a country. Yeah. And even within that, within the city, within a state, is a different, what you call it. So, do I talk to people in
English? Marathi? Sindhi?
No, I don't mean language.
State.
So, yes, should I say Rajasthan? Okay. Rajasthan and Gujarat, okay. They take, from what I've given understand, there's a very big proud culture in their head that they're stingy. Okay? Now, I'm not the one who's saying this. You can actually feel Sindhis, Gujaratis, Jays. They tell you how proud they are in terms of not spending. Fine, that's fantastic. You have as an accountant. You want that person because he's not spending. Fine. On the other hand, you have people who are much more. I would say intellectual. For example, Calcutta is supposed to be historically a very intellectual, artistic, what you call it, place. I don't know if the whole state of Bengal is that, or is it just Calcutta?
Kolkata is a city.
Okay, so you have that. You come down to Mumbai. Mumbai is a very special place. It's completely different than everything else because it's a melting pot from everyone. So you're going to come people who are very fast and loose in terms of how they get things. So friendships are very fluid. They don't have time. Move to the next point and get that. Okay. If you have a business that's wheeler dealer trading, you need somebody like them. So again, it depends. And I realize I'm not making a moral statement in terms of a judgment called this person's better than that, this person. I don't care. I need to understand. And when I understand, to be able to say, for this position, that person, for this position, this person, for me, how would you, again, being very generic here, what you call it as an Arab, how would I be perceived, what you call it, by certain people? Certain people, if you look, again, depending which part, Gulf people from the Gulf states, depending where you go, some people will look at the people from the Gulf states and think, shrewd businessman, and other people will think, stupid idiot who has a lot of money to spend. Okay? Now, that's based on a perception they have received.
Mm-hmm.
Interacting with each person is how you should interact with everybody. You take, irrespective of the background, you keep the background as the overall view, but you're talking to the one person, one-to-one, and you get an understanding from that person. And on the basis of that person, or what you understand from that person, you interact with him or her.
This was one of the beautiful insights I must have ever heard. I must have ever come across. Being from India, I don't think so anyone has explained India this well. You run a family business, right? So could you please introduce our viewers or tell our viewers what are the benefits of running a family business, how it is different than running a non-family business, what are the advantages, what are the challenges in both the scenarios?
A family business is actually a very special type of business because it's a non-ending business.
Yeah.
It's 24/7. you don't know, even when you go home, you think the thing stops. No, it's constantly, it's 24/7. You're on vacation, you're thinking about the business, you're thinking about interacting with family member X and family member Y. It's never ending. In fact, I used to teach the fundamentals of family business at the American University of Sharjah. And the first thing I'd do to my students is I'd segregate them. Which one of you are a member of a family business? And they tell me, I am, okay. Which one of you wants to work in a family business who's not a family business member? Okay. Which one is just taking this as an elective? And they tell me, I say, okay. For the second two groups, go aside. This is my advice to people who are in a family business or who are a part of a family business who want to eventually join the family business. Run away. Run far. It's the most painful experience you will encounter because it never stops. It just doesn't stop. And in a family business, there are only two places you want to be. Either at the bottom where you don't count and you don't matter and you can get on with your life and go to sleep. Or at the top where you're making all the decisions and everybody hates you and everybody's going for you and everybody's smiling and wants to stab you in the back. And the worst part is they're family members. And you're sitting with them over lunch or over dinner and you're talking to them and they're smiling at you and they're thinking in their heads, I want your place. But the advantages of a family business is a family business can make quick decisions.
Yeah.
The problem with a family decision is that you're probably not going to get the best and the brightest because the best and the brightest will be restricted upward mobility because of the family members being in that. Now, if you can set up the structure where you allow non-family members to have upward mobility, then you will be able to track them. Okay. And again, a family business also looks long-term. When I say long-term, I'm not talking about 12 months, 18 months. No. I'm talking decades. That's long-term view for them. I'm not under the pressure, unless they're a public listed company, I'm not under the pressure of quarterly results. I don't have to do that. I can take risks in certain venues that others could not. I am also risk averse when it comes to my name.
Yeah.
So reputation matters. So you have those, there are different aspects of a family business versus a non-family. And tomorrow, you know what, if tomorrow I have to collapse my family or sell my family business, or sell my family business, it's incredibly hard because there's an emotional attachment to it. On the other hand, if it's just a non-family business that exists over there, and somebody comes with a fantastic price, there you go.
Business.
So one of the differences we could take is in the family businesses, we have a lot of emotional attachment towards your business. However, it is equally tough as running a non-family or even more tougher than running a non-family business. Right.
Actually, that marks the end of our prepared set of questions. Do you have anything else to leave the audience with?
Do yourself a favor, invest in yourself, learn. I don't mean learn as necessarily a formal education, because that's formal education is good. It gets you the degree that tells people that you are qualified to do whatever the paper says. But the key is to learn. Read everything, anything. Listen to everyone, anyone. Even in a subject that you have no interest in whatsoever, because you never know. Well, that one day, learning that subject will be the doorway to whatever you're trying to do and succeed in life. But if you don't do that, don't cry. You gave up. You lost the opportunity. We like to blame others, but the reality is we start with ourselves. If we want to do something, the thing starts with me and it does end with me. If I want something, I need to get up. I need to take action. Before I take action, I need to think about what I'm taking action on. Take action. Rinse and repeat. And you keep on doing it until it becomes second nature to you and everybody recognizes it. Then doors open. But if you're wishing for something to happen while you're not putting the effort or the time into getting it, it's never going to happen. People sometimes get lucky for a short time. But eventually, even that goes away. Consistent, successful people who you know all of them. You know all the names. They didn't happen because they just sat down and said, oh, I wish this happened to me. They got up, They looked around, they read, they listened, they talked, they investigated, they researched, and then they took action. And when they do that, they succeed. If you want to succeed, you know where to start.
Thank you so much for the valuable insights. I hope that the audience takes something away from your experience. And I'm sure you must have had a very busy schedule. So thank you for giving us this time.
It's my pleasure. If I can help guide young men and women to get to something better in their life, it's a pleasure for me.
With this, we'll mark the end of the session. For the people at home, you've already gotten the message from one of the most successful around here. Go, get up and do your work. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. This is it from today. This is your host, Sahil, with my co-host.
Riha Rao.
Thank you very much and have a lovely day.